Hey guys, how's it going? So, a little Sunday afternoon devlog again for Open-FDD, and one thing that I'm playing around with is OpenClaw. So, OpenClaw is like the new kid on the block for large language models. I think YouTube is going nuts about what you can all do and get your productivity going or whatever. So, right now I have OpenClaw running locally on this Windows desktop that I'm recording this YouTube video with, and it's actually so this is local host right here, this 127.0.0.1, and then Open-FDD is running on my test bench. So this is just a little Linux server running locally on my LAN. So what I demonstrated last week was doing an AI assisted data model just by exporting the JSON representation of the data model, having the large language model refine it in JSON keys and values, and then you re-import the data model into the OpenFDD backend. So like what I'm interested in doing is to teach OpenClaw how to do all this for me, which I think is still kind of cool. So like this feature will always be here in OpenFDD to use AI assisted data modeling just through JSON, where you just like extract JSON representation of the knowledge graph, upload it to the AI, and then re-import it for people that can't run maybe OpenClaw on their LAN for if it was a real HVAC system. So this will say forever and ever. So what I want to do is see if OpenClaw can do this for me. So it's actually will interact with the backend. So all of these little features on the React front end, they actually hit this is the web app backend, which is actually the Python fast API framework. So this is just a little tool that comes with the web app backend, and OpenClaw will actually utilize the same features of the web app backend that the front end uses. So all these buttons, they hit the little web app routes on the backend, and which is the same thing that OpenClaw will use too. So it authenticates with the web app backend and does everything we want it to do. And it'll do the same thing that when we ask ChatGPT to process the we did the last time, to process the keys, and we'll re-import the data model back into OpenFDD. I want OpenClaw to do that all for me, just locally. So in theory, I wouldn't even need to run into even open this up. So okay, so let's try this. So I'm just going to validate that the knowledge graph is reset. So okay, so here's the default knowledge graph for OpenFDD of just our parameters that you can adjust for your location and your scraping intervals and all that good stuff. So let's do I want it to run a point discovery and add to the data model. So let's just see if it'll do it for us. So please do a BACnet who is, and add the and point discover and add the two devices to the data model through the OpenFDD API, please. So I also have OpenClaw doing a bunch of things for me. Like when I go home and I sleep at night, I'm also having OpenClaw run a barrage of web app testing tools across this. So if there's web app testing frameworks written in Python, one of them is called Selenium. So it actually tests all the little buttons, make sure that there's no errors. So it does like a lot of good stuff on here. And then it's also going to validate some of the BACnet data too. So OpenClaw has access to the API of OpenFDD, and then it's also going to directly make BACnet commands to the devices itself to validate that the platform is actually performing properly, which I'll show you here in a second too. Okay, so done cleanly. So who is point discovery added to the knowledge graph. So let me see. Okay, so let's check this out. Ooh, okay, so it did it properly. So it did device discovery for us. So, but what's missing is the brick. There's no brick classes here. There's nothing in brick at all yet. So this is just BACnet RDF, which it did that. So the BACnet RDF is working for our 2 BACnet devices right here. And then I want it to do now the, sorry, I'm jumping around a whole bunch here. Just want to make sure I'm on the right branch, yeah, development branch. And then the prompt actually for the LLM, if you're going to do it the old-fashioned way, is still in the docs here. This is the prompt. You can just copy it and then paste it into ChatGPT. So I'm just going to say, okay, so let's just say we need to give our data model a site, call it again, pop-up bins, super test bench, please, and do the data modeling for me like we have on the docs. So it should add this to the Open API. It should add this to the data model, and then also go through and then even, you know, do everything as if we were doing this through ChatGPT with a JSON export. Let's just see if it gets it right. So it's making itself a couple new tools, and it just stores it all locally somewhere on my computer. No brick tags yet, so okay, so let's see if it did it. So let's check the data model. I don't see that. So I'm just gonna have it go check this. This is a way on the back end to view the same data. I don't see the oh shoot, it's asking me that, sorry. So it's just asking me to confirm these steps, so I'm just gonna say yes, please do all that for me, turnkey with the data model and the 2 so I wanted to look at these 2 our fault definitions. So this is the our fault detection YAML files. I'm just going to copy that. Yes, please all do that, and the 2 YAML files we have configured currently, so we are not scraping unnecessary BACnet data. All right, so let's just see what it does. I think this is really exciting. I'm a big fan of this OpenClaw tool. I have high hopes in what this tool can do. Not only for fault detection and AI-assisted data modeling, and it's also doing some of my web app testing, which I think is really cool, and which is kind of common web app testing world. There's actually people that have that skill set. That's their professional skill set, is they're a web app testing person. And I have a feeling that OpenClaw knows a lot more about that than I do. And the other thing I'm telling OpenClaw to do is, so I have it running. It's basically autonomously created this Open-FDD automated testing, its own. So it has its own repository, of everything that I'm telling it to do and how to set up Open-FDD. And then I'm also instructing it to make a little dashboard, which is coming. This is still in the works. So I'm having it actually make context for, this is all my front end and API web app testing in Selenium. So it's actually, while I sleep at night, it's going to test Open-FDD on my test bench, that all the bugs are worked out, and that all of the BACnet communication is working properly and faults detection is working. We're doing right now AI assisted data modeling, so this will be another feature, and then something once it gets onto a live HVAC system is this, I want it to be able to be a feature for the building operator, so it can maybe someday in the future even assist in a live HVAC monitoring. So like it will it'll be actively doing BACnet reads, writes, whatever you want it to do. So I have algorithms for optimization written in Java where I feel pretty confident that this tool could pull that down, convert it to Python, perhaps even optimize the building with maybe some simple rule-based algorithms, and then also validate through fault detection through Open-FDD or any FDD tool. It could be any FDD tool that we're doing good things to the HVAC, everything is efficient, and that there's no sensors that are faulted out or anything where the building operator needs to be notified. So this is coming. This will be kind of a work in progress, so I'll be able to update what we're doing here too at the same time. So lots of things that are getting autonomously built through I'm just letting OpenClaw do this autonomously. So it will also, when it's testing Open-FDD, it'll also open GitHub issues, and if it sees a bug in the code in the middle of the night, it'll open up a GitHub issue on Open-FDD and then put the bug that it found basically on Open-FDD. It's not fixing the code, it's just testing and finding bugs and autonomously writing its own testing code with me kind of in the middle, pushing it to make sure that you're doing X, Y, and Z. So this is really fun. It's coming. Okay, let's just see what it got here. So what did it do? Did it do as good a job as using the same model through ChatGPT? All right, it says that it did. So let's just check our data model setup. Ooh, okay, so this looks good. This looks good. So if you see right here, added in the brick classes. Here's our raw BACnet telemetry data. This is lovely. So I think it did pretty good. So then this is also our brick time series references. So external references supported through brick for the database time series references, and then also the BACnet point addresses. So like we're adding a ton of stuff to the data model, and I think I'm going to do everything through OpenClaw, but we're still people that aren't using AI to autonomously do everything. This is still a very generic tool as well. So all right, so yeah, even added in Ben Super Test Bench. So here we go. So this is cool. All right, so like I also instructed OpenClaw to do its barrages of tests on the web app tonight. So it should be ready to do. So it's like it is instructed to test all night long while I'm sleeping, and then open up GitHub issues if it finds any bugs. And then it's also instructed to comb through the online documentation of Open-FDD, find bugs in the documentation, bad links. So it's doing cool things. Okay, I'm just going to ask it, what are you instructed to do tonight on your testing while I sleep. And once again, hopefully this makes sense. This is a Windows computer that I'm running all this on, and it's creating its own tools and running them right on the same computer I'm doing this YouTube video tonight. And then Open-FDD, this is just another computer on my little test bench LAN. It's a server basically, so it's gonna test everything, test our BACnet network, test our faults, really run the web app through its paces, and even open up GitHub issues if it's wrong. And like I was saying before, all of this code is all autonomously written by OpenClaw, which includes not only testing OpenFDD, but also, this will evolve too into, which I have high hopes for this. It's a live HVAC site monitoring. So I'm really dying to guide this OpenClaw project through live HVAC fault detection, monitoring fault detection, notifying the building owner if like, hey, there's a problem. I think there's an issue here, and it doesn't need to sleep. So if OpenClaw is running Python scripts on my computer, it's making them, whatever it needs to do to interact with my fake building automation system on my test bench. I can guide this through a live HVAC system, all within guidance and rules, and I have to tell it to stay within your lane. And I think this could be kind of a fun project into the future. So hopefully you're liking this, and hopefully it's making sense. And this will evolve a lot here. So AI is actually writing all of the code for this, and it will, this will evolve in time. Okay, so where were we? So we were on, okay, so tonight while you sleep, I'm supposed to review the OpenFDD overnight run, check whether BACnet discovery works, scrape, so it's running its test basically. Faults are getting calculated correctly, Selenium front end pass, Sparkle query testing passes on the API, hot reload for fault still work. BACnet, FDD focus. Specifically, I'm supposed to keep pushing toward stronger verification chain. So it basically did everything that we just did right now. The docs, so it's going to read through all of the online documentation like a bot. It's going to make sure that there's nothing's broken in the OpenFDD project for the human documentation. So it's also going to do a code PR code review all night long. So it watches every 10 minutes, container log monitoring. So yeah, it's going to monitor the logs of the OpenFDD server, this guy running here. So like here, this is all of our containers for OpenFDD on this little server. And like it will monitor the logs that you would see through Docker. So all of this stuff, the OpenClaw is going to make sure that there's no errors. A lot of good things. What else are we going to do? So documentation, context duty, also to make sure I'm saving full context to GitHub, which was the OpenClaw thing that I was doing. So the big picture, the goal tonight is not just run tests, but it's more like keep overnight testing discipline. So yeah, this is great. So it's basically something that can keep like a feedback loop. It's going to keep on getting better and better and better and better and better and better. I guaranteed. So someday, perhaps this will run on a live HVAC system, and we can keep on refining this. It'll get better and better and better. Like one big giant feedback loop. It's going to keep on continuously monitoring it. AI is building its own code, its own feedback loop, and then hoping to find lots of other experts out there. So domain level experts, which could be commissioning agents, that they're validating that artificial intelligence is doing, what it should be doing to the HVAC system. and their work wouldn't change at all. So they're just validating HVAC system is still operating correctly the way it should be. So I have high hopes that this could also be a tool that building operators are also interested in using too, and that they're getting something useful out of this too, like a computerized maintenance management, software optimization, all in one $20 a month OpenAI subscription with OpenClaw, or whatever you want to use. It's up to you. So, but this is fun stuff. Exciting times. So that's all I have for today, guys. I'm really excited to watch this go. I think this OpenClaw project is really cool. And I think I should also maybe mention some cool YouTubers out there. I'm watching this guy quite a bit, IBM Technologies. They're also really good for OpenAI, for just large language model stuff. And let's keep on doing some cool work here. Anyone also, please join the Discord. Anyone interested in this, join the Discord channel too. Let's see. So Discord. There's a button for it right here. Reach out to me directly, looking for people that are interested in actually testing this, finding bugs, working with AI-assisted data modeling, and even OpenClaw if you want to go to that level. So please reach out if you have any questions or comments. Thanks for watching. Talk to you guys later.